back! Welcome to the 6th episode of Kit Car Talk with Street Rod Jim. And I'm your host, Street Rod Jim. And I'll be telling you about Street Rod Jim because I have nothing better to do than talk about myself. So it's been a while since we've done a Kit Car Talk with Street Rod Jim, and I just want to kind of go through what's been happening, what's been going on, how the car's doing, all that kind of stuff. We've had some good news and bad news and good news and good news. So the first good news I'll say is I had an engine tick and, something with the valves going on. And it was just one little area that I was hearing. And it was funny because I talked to the engine people that helped me, do all the machining work on the engine when I rebuilt it, and got a bunch of information. And then I was, talking to people, and people were chiming in on the comment section and all that stuff. And one of my friends was like, just drive the car and the oil will get up there and you'll be fine. And I was like, well, that's a concept because the car's been down for a while just because of building it, waiting on people, shooting the celebration video. I don't have another good name for that. I don't know what to call it. It's not really the final video, but it's the finalization. So if you have a good name for that, let me know. Celebration video is the right thing to say, but it just seems so long and drawn out. I don't know. It's kind of it's not concise. We'll just put it that way. But anyways, so I went to do a photo shoot, and sure enough, driving the car for 15 minutes one way and driving the car 15 minutes back, and I don't have any ticking problems. It's just been this year has been not much road time on the car, and that oil just slowly draining to the bottom, and just idling it a few times is, not going to do much. Pulling it around the driveway is not going to do much. So a nice good drive doing 45 miles per hour actually took care of the problem, and everything is fine. So keeping it simple is what I like, and that was great because I really didn't want to dig into that and mess around with all that stuff. So that's the good news. So the bad news part of that was I've been having problems with my battery, and it's an Optima yellow top. It's a really nice battery. However, the car has been in build mode for all these years, and so when we went to shoot the celebration video, we were having problems. We were starting the car and we were driving and we were stopping and driving and we were backing up and we were starting to turn it on and driving, and just a lot of abuse, if you will. Again, with no long road time, no, driving, having that alternator charge the battery. And I have I think it's a Schumacher 1 amp trickle charger that I've had for like 30 years. And so it's kind of funny because we went to do this photo shoot, which is the same time that my ticking stopped because I had to drive somewhere. And I get to this cul-de-sac, and I would say the pitch was a good 3-4 degrees. And, I stopped the car. I waited for Joe, my photographer, which you're going to meet soon in some other videos. And I'm waiting for him, and he pulls up, and I'm like, all right, well, let's put it into position, this and that. And I'm like, great, where do you want me? And so I go to start the car, click, like nothing. And I'm like, and I charged the battery before I even went out there. Like it's just been this ongoing kind of issue. So we ended up pushing the car into position because none of us had jumper cables. And then I had to call my neighbor Bob to come out with jumper cables afterwards and help us get the car home. And, it's just this like scenario. And so because of all these different things, and when I went to shoot this one other thing, I couldn't get my car into gear, and then the battery's kind of dying. And for the last like 4 or 5 months, I've been just in this whole like, I guess, cautious mode, if you will, like scared to take the car anywhere because what if it fails and then I'm screwed and then I have to tow it home. And so I think, we got the gear shifting thing solved. It seems like the tick is gone and that's solved. And now we need to resolve the battery and get that solved. So I think once that's done, now I'm going to be feeling more confident about taking the car places, taking it to car shows and all that stuff, along with the trailer that I got and stuff. So on that story, when I bought the battery, it was in the middle of the world changing. And, there was nothing available locally. And I was looking for this specialized battery. And it had to be this battery because it fit the special Eddie Motorsports battery bling, if you will, that goes around the battery, the holder, and it's all anodized blue, and it's really cool. And so the only place I could find it was on Amazon. So I bought this battery on Amazon, and I'm, usually going to buy something at a local store because if the battery fails, I just pull up, they take care of it, they change it out. Hey, thanks, get out of here, good to go. But I didn't really have a choice in this case, so I bought it from Amazon. Well, here it is. You have a 3-year fully exchanged warranty on these batteries. And, I talk to Amazon, I call them up on the phone because, it's past the 30-day return. So I'm talking to them and they're like, well, it's a 30-day return. And I'm like, yeah, but I bought this directly from you. It wasn't a third party. It was Amazon services directly that I bought the battery from. And I said, if you're going to be a dealer of this product, you have to, uphold the warranty. And they're like, well, this is our policy. And I'm like, well, let's talk to the higher levels up. So we get to the higher levels up and they come back and they say, it's a 30-day return policy. So like, you got to be joking me. So, and before I even talked to them, knowing that they had a 30-day return policy and I couldn't actually do anything, electronically without talking to someone, I did go to the manufacturer and talk to Optima and I said, hey, I have this problem with this battery. What should I do? And they're like, go to the dealer. And so that's what forced me to start talking to them by phone. So then after they said, 30-day, I'm like, great. So I went back to Optima and I said, hey, I bought this from Amazon and they won't give me the time of day, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we will actually start the claim with Amazon directly from our end and then they'll take it from there. So that was really nice. They hopped into the middle of it. They took care of it all. Next thing you know, within 48 hours, I got an email from Amazon that said, hey, we got your claim. You're within warranty period. We are going to ship you out a new battery. And here's the best part. You don't have to return the other battery. And I was like, sweet. So now I got this free, supposedly broken battery. And I'm thinking, well, I could temporarily use that for my van for certain things, testing, things like that, and not really care that the battery is getting more damaged or not damaged or whatever. So that was my thought, because these batteries are like $289 now. It's like, it's insane to go get a battery. So that went on, and in that process, I was like, I kept charging this battery, and I see all these videos about how to bring a battery back to life. And they're like, well, you have to trick it by using another battery. And I'm like, the only reason you'd have to trick the battery by using another one is if it was intelligent. So what has happened in the last 30 years? And so I started researching and finding, technology has changed and things are way different. And you have these chargers and maintainers that will fully recondition a battery. And so I did a lot of research, and I just bought not only a maintainer, since, I used to own a Corvette and everybody had these tenders on their cars. And I had a lot of battery issues with that car, but resolved it with a brand new battery. But those are a car that you always want to have a tender on. And here I am, unless it's a daily driver, of course. And here I am with this car, and I'm like, well, I need a maintainer because obviously that's what got me into this mess. So I found this company that makes a great maintainer, and I also found that they make an awesome reconditioner charger that now is intelligent. It does 10 amps. And so I'm actually really excited about this, that I'm moving into the new millennia of technology when it comes to battery stuff. And I think with this new technology, I'm not really going to have any issues anymore and be able to maintain my batteries the best way I can. And I believe that I should be able to resurrect the battery that I don't have to return with this new conditioner. So that's all coming in a few days, and I'm really excited about that. So the other good news is I actually found a piece that will go onto my prop rod for the hood. And so it's taking a while to get in. I think it's probably being internationally shipped for, 5 cents. I don't know how they do that. But yeah, I'm hoping that that solves a lot of issues. It looks appropriate for, car shows and stuff like that. So we'll kind of see when that comes in, how that's going. So you're wondering, did Jim say he did a photo shoot? Well, actually, I did. We did some, golden hour photo shoot in the middle of the desert in a cul-de-sac area with some beautiful scenery. And I needed some press photos because Factory 5 is going to do a little press release on my videos coming out and, celebrating the end of the car, the end of the build. And so I brought my buddy Joe out, who actually helped me with some of the final videos that are coming out in a few weeks here. And we're kind of trying to tie this all together. So press release Factory 5, or we'll say newsletter Factory 5, and my release videos. And so, and a documentary. There's a full documentary coming out of, who's Street Rod Jim and how did we do these videos. And it's really well done. So I know people, watching my channel know how meticulous I am. And these videos are really, really well done. And I'm not just saying that because I did them. I'm even hard on myself when it comes to that stuff and don't hand out the compliments too often. And I just really think we knocked it out of the park. And I really want everybody to know that this was all done in-house. There was nothing farmed out. This is 100% in-house. With me leading the team, if you will, and I'm just really, really ecstatic about the results. A lot of times when I'm doing stuff, I will go out there and see if we could achieve something great, and then you come back with 80%, and you're like, well, that's pretty good for zero budget, local little guy in Tucson. And these videos are really, really something spectacular. Super high quality, well shot, well done, and going to be a plethora of information to see how we pulled some of this stuff off. So I really hope you stick around and check those videos out. It's going to be really great. And, some of the people at Factory 5 have seen it already and have just, given us great accolades about it. So I'm really excited about that. And, this whole process has been just really, really interesting in the sense that, I have some disabilities. And so it's been difficult, first of all, to even build a car. And then, here I am buying these like huge trailers and, trying to take this car to car shows. And, even when the battery died the other day and me and Joe had to push the car, like that's not something I would normally do or even tackle, because I can't physically do it. You've heard me talk about how the doors have been sagging for 2.5 years, and it's because I do not have the mechanical it looks like I do, but I have some physical disabilities where I can't crank those bolts down. And so what's been really interesting is over this last year, I've been doing a lot of rehabilitation, and I've gone to, I'm just going to glance over this. I'm not going to go crazy, but I've gone to every specialist you could ever imagine, top in the world and stuff like that. And everybody's like rolling their eyes. They have no idea. And I finally found someone that's been able to help me. But the journey to do it has been just crazy, very intense, crazy. And the best way I could explain it is like a video game, where you choose a character and they have different powers, or they have different fighting skills, or they have different this or different that. Well, every day, sometimes every hour, it's like a different character is chosen for me. And that's what I deal with. That's what's going on internally of what I feel and pain and all that kind of stuff that's going on. That's what's happening on sometimes a 5-minute basis, an hour basis, or whatever. And so I'm going through this process of coming out of it. And it's been really bizarre that here I am doing stuff and buying things that are these huge, huge things like, 24 foot by 9 foot by 8.5 foot trailer. And I'm this guy that could barely, pull a wrench. So there's a shift in my brain of how to, I don't know. I don't know if this is making sense, but it's just, there was a point in my life where I couldn't lift a 24-ounce bottle of water. And so here I am now buying this huge trailer that's, whatever, 3,000 pounds. And I'm dealing with bigger things when my lifting capacity, and you say, well, you don't have to lift much on a trailer, but it's just one of those things that you feel more confident when when you're full together and you're out there kicking ass and stuff like that. So I don't know if any of this is making sense. This is like the IRL version of Street Rod Gym, just giving you a little bit of glimpse into the type of management that has come to doing this project. Like, lifting something onto the car or, always having to ask my neighbors to help or whatever. I'm kind of coming out of this, what I'll call physical coma in a sense. And the journey's just been wild. It's been crazy. Uh, you could tell I'm at a loss for words. This is going on for like 20 plus years. And so now to have all this movement happen in this last year, and that's part of the frustration that I've had this year is not only people, trying to hire people to do what they do and they don't even return your calls. That's one frustration. The other frustration is the craziness of going through this rehabilitation. Has just been like I said, I'm waking up every day and it's a different story. And then you have putting these videos together for these celebration videos. I mean, we're talking 300 plus hours of my time personally putting this all together. And when when you average a year of work for the average, person out there doing the 40-hour work week, that equals 2,000 hours. And so when you got a span of like 6, 7 months where you put an extra 300 hours into a project, and remember, there's no pay. I'm not getting any pay for this stuff, even though I have a great amount of subscribers to my great amount on a small scale, great amount. Um, you know, $3 for a video. Like I'm not making any money. There's nothing there. So, and just so you know, there is a super thanks now on my videos on the bottom right where you could actually donate if you wanted to. But the amount of time that goes into filming all this stuff while you're trying to build, and then you go in and you edit for 3 hours to put it all together and all that stuff. I mean, literally, you're not making any money back. I would probably have to be, I would say probably just from my guess, 50 to 75,000 subscribers to actually feel like you're making a dent to where it's like, oh, I put in 1,000 hours, which is a half a year of normal pay, and I made $10,000 back. Maybe, that's still not $30,000 or $40,000 back. So I don't know. So I'm kind of looking at, where the channel is, where it's going to go. It's growing nice on its own. I think I'm at like 11.7 right now. That's, 11,000 subscribers, 12,000 subscribers. That's pretty good. My goal is always to hit a 10,000 and then kind of reevaluate and see how we want to approach it from there. So I'm really excited to move on to the van and get that going. Of course, we have to look at the financials of that because this thing kind of went over budget on the paint area of it. The rest of the car is totally in spec and in budget of what I thought, except for the nickel and dime stuff where you run to Ace Hardware, 5 times a day and it's like $20, $20. And that adds up to like $3,000, extra. However, I did buffer in that $3,000 worth of stuff in there. And so the whole car is pretty much within budget, but my idea of what the paint job was going to be just was nowhere in the realm. And I remember going, to some car events and stuff like that and seeing some beautiful paint jobs and asking the person, how much did this car cost to get painted? And they were like $35,000. And I was like, what planet are these people on? Like, are you kidding me? Like 35,000? Now I get it. It's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of sanding and meticulously, getting every little nuance done. And even after that, you could be like, do with your buffer. And, oh, I burnt right through, and now we got to repaint and fix. And so it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And honestly, this is not the easiest car to paint. I mean, it is so many curves and bumps. And, I would say, from everything that I'm hearing from everybody else, because, I don't know any different per se. I'm learning, but you know, the factory five fiberglass situation is not the best. In fact, what I've heard is 10 years ago it was better, and this version was not so great. And I will say there is some thin areas on my hood and stuff. Like we were painting the hood, and the area where I have the latch attached to it, the pin that comes down into the latch, we had, wires hanging that from the ceiling so we could paint the hood, and, one of them just ripped out and the hood hit the ground. Well, there's an extra 2 hours of work rebuilding everything, you know what I mean? So, there's stuff like that, I never put on camera or never showed on camera because I wasn't there when it happened. That's stuff that was happening, at the body shop while I was, working. So, however, I will say during the world changes and everything being shut down, Factory 5 has really gone out of their way to do everything they can to improve their process. And so I can't honestly say what I have behind me now, the way the fiberglass came in and the way it would come in today, could be a total night and day difference. I'm pretty sure in the Cobras it is. On my car, I haven't heard from anybody. In fact, I know there's a few people that have bought cars recently due to watching my channel. I would love to hear if you know or your body person knows. You have to have some kind of idea of what's true or not. But I would love some comments to know whether they've stepped it up and it's a lot better and less work and all that kind of stuff. Because the amount of infrastructure that they have built with pipe benders and units that automatically carve out stuff, like I don't know how much you have to cut out a door anymore. It might be really close, where before, like I had an extra inch and a half or something like that. Maybe it's just like a quarter inch you have to close down now because they have automatic things cutting out stuff. So in fact, if you want to learn about more of that stuff, they did a lot of videos during that time, the 2020 through, like, we'll say the end of 2021 is when all that happened. Full solar plant, a whole new, like, building, tons of machines that are like, they look like they're 30-foot long. I mean, huge machines that are all automated. And they talked about it, and they just, their place was closed, but they would just sit there and vlog about it and vlog about it and vlog about it. It was just fascinating. So some of my favorite videos were all created during that time to learn about how they're doing stuff. So I really commend them for taking it to the next level. And I'm also really, they tried to do the steel stuff and they couldn't get a place to do it correctly for the steel bodies, because I would have bought a steel body when that option was just coming out. It was right around that time. I think there were 6 beta versions, if you will, and I was looking to be, like in the first 10 steel body purchases, and it just never happened. But now, like with the F9R, they're doing the carbon fiber. Pretty much you just gotta put the door on and align it. Like, I'm in. That's amazing. And if you want to paint it or put stripes on it or whatever, you just need to, do a little sand and do a clear coat across the whole car. That just makes it so much easier. So However, I will say with everything that I learned, the price of this paint job is what I call my educational fee. Like I went to school and paid for it. When I go to do the van, I am going to try to do literally as much as possible, if not 100% by myself, and try to get the same exact quality, if not even better. You know what I mean? Like I'm always trying to push the envelope to get the best I can out of it. And so that is what my hope is when I go to do the van. Um, I'll have to learn some metal work and probably hire out some people to help me do some metal work. But besides that, I'm going to be hopping into the paint and seeing what I could do and do it the best I can. I still have to fix the fenders on this vehicle, but that didn't affect the photo shoot. Can't really tell on the photo shoot. And yeah, I mean, a lot of things are happening. So the other thing is, let's go back to the trailer. So the trailer was a great deal. It's a little bit bigger than I wanted, but it's a great deal. I've been kind of going through it and fixing all the nuances and polishing it up and, missing little, you know, pins for the things that hold up the door and, just little nuances. Been kind of dialing in. There's some gap sealer that you could put, lap sealer that you could put on the top. It's about time to replace that, which is funny because this trailer's not that old. It's like less than 5 years old, but that sun just tears stuff up. So I'm gonna do some of that. So one of my commenters, Chris, was talking about, hey man, just pop a new bottom on your trailer jack. You should be good to go. And I was like, I'm always like pushing it to the highest level. Why don't I be economical in this and let's try that out? Well, two things kind of happen. One is whatever damage that happened to that jack originally, it's shortened now. So it won't get off the car if I just do that because I bought that part and I went to go do it and it's not happening. The second thing is that cranking with my physicality issues is not fun at all and causes issues for me. So hitting the old button and having it go up and down, that's where I'm going to go. And so the other thing that I'm doing is me and batteries. I'm not interested in having a battery on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a plug to where I back the car up, I plug the jack into the car, I use the car battery to go up and down, get it all situated, pull that back out, now plug the trailer in, and now all my lights and everything are working and good to go. So that just eliminates the whole battery issue and it just sitting there rotting in the sun in the heat of the desert all day long and just dying. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. So that's what's kind of going on there. So I was kind of just like the battery thing where I was saying I don't want to order something in and I'd rather have it local and under warranty. And so because it's just going to get beat in the heat and stuff like that. I was going to possibly buy a local one. And by the time you paid for the warranty and did all this stuff, it was the same price as buying like the world's best one that's rated now, which is a Lippard. So I'm like, screw it, I'll just get the Lippard. So that's coming in tomorrow. And then some of the battery stuff is coming in the next few days. And then the lap seal is coming in the next few days. And so I'm sure my neighbors hate me right now because I got this big, huge trailer blocking the road. And I do have an HOA that I'll get a letter pretty soon. And I get it. So, because I can't stand it whenever other people have their RVs and stuff out in the streets. So, but usually it's a week, so it's no big deal. I've hit the week mark right now, and I was trying to get it out of here by tomorrow. And I'm like, well, if I wait 3 more days, I could just have everything done and then deal with it. So we'll see how that goes, but that's going well. I need to buy some wood and create some what I'll call faux ramps to get the front end of the car up so I'm not scraping the front as it goes up because the whole bottom front of the car is painted. The valance is painted underneath, so there's no bumpers or anything to scrape against. So you'd be taking paint off, so I don't want to do that. And I'm really hoping to get some car shows really quick. And there is one coming up in about 14 days. That's about, I don't know, an hour and a half away. So that could be the maiden voyage for the trailer and going out there and doing that. However, like I told you before, because of the situations that I've had in my life with physicality issues and I don't, even though I've been around trailers and stuff when I was a kid and I was an excellent driver of backing up and all that kind of stuff, I haven't been around boats and big trailers and my disabilities, if you will, have taken me out of that realm. I used to do a lot of ATCing and quad riding and all that stuff and have little 6x8 trailers and stuff, no big deal. But this whole bigger toy thing, you know, if I was ever invited to go to Lake Havasu and be on a boat for like a camping trip in the middle of nowhere in the desert, that was all loaded up and ready to go and in the water. And they came to the shore and I hopped on with my, luggage and we went somewhere. I wasn't part of the process. So between my disabilities and not being around that stuff and not being acclimated, and it's been 30 years, um, I just have a little bit more hesitation on stuff. I'm a little more cautious about things because I don't want to get myself into a situation where it's either going to cost me a lot of money or I hurt myself. And so I don't feel comfortable loading the car into the trailer without a spotter, stuff like that. And that might be true for everybody, but for me, this is all new. You know what I mean? And so, because it'd be really easy to take out the front fender. Don't ask me how I know that. And so, so you know, if I do go to this car show, it would be nice to have a friend with me to cruise down there and actually go to the car show, and then I feel confident about it. So I'm just trying to get over these fears, if you will, coming out of this 20-year disability situation that I've been in. And I'm sorry if this is TMI, but I kind of just feel like I've mentioned it a few times that I don't have the best back and neck and things like that, and I just kind of wanted to say, hey, this is like a cool major accomplishment for me to pull this off while having these issues to where at one point I couldn't even lift a bottle of water. So crazy. It's crazy for me. It's like, it's surreal. That's the best way I could say it. All this stuff is surreal. The trailer, the car. Um, I never had doubts that I couldn't pull it off. That was never an issue because I'm confident in that sense. It's the physicality of making it all happen, and so I'm just really excited, and I'm just going to keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward, and you know I I kind of just want to tell people in a sense that it's not about not giving up. It's about never starting. When there's things in your life that are holding you back, there's probably some way to figure out how to do it. And that is the one thing that I have accomplished in this is no matter what doctor said I can't do this, or no matter what, like for instance, I have severe inner ear issues to where if I get any water in my ears, I instantly get an ear infection and it causes havoc in my ears, which means no putting my head underwater in the shower, swimming, no diving, no scuba diving, none of that stuff. Well, and you could say, oh, well, they make earplugs for diving. And it's like, those don't really, they're not 100%. So again, if I get any water, even if I'm at the hairdresser, the barber shop, and they're spraying water on your hair and a mist of that goes into my ear, it causes havoc. So, earplugs that have, what I'll call a 10% fail rate, if you will, because it's not absolute, that doesn't work. Well, years ago, I wanted to go scuba diving and learn and, do this stuff. And of course, it's not possible with my situation. So I did a bunch of research, and of course you got these like molded earplugs that go in your ears. Okay, that's fine, but they don't really work 100%. So I finally, after like, whatever, 12 hours of research or something, found one company that made your goggles with basically like the gun ear protectors you see me wear all the time, built in, that are suction cups to keep the water out. Now, again, that's not 100% either, because normally when you dive, you just kind of like fall off the boat and slam into the water, and that will go right into those ear cups. So you can't do that. What you have to do is you have to hop into the water, you know, slide off the edge of the boat, and then with your hands just slowly dip yourself into the water so this suction stays on your head. So what I ended up doing is I got the in ears happening, I got the outer ears happening with the goggles. Everybody's like, "Come on, dude, hop in the water." It's like, wait, I got to take my time, get in there. And I would say, um, you know, again, 10% of the time, I would get a little leak in one of the ear cups or whatever, but I had the other protection. And it was really rare I got anything in my ear. And if I did, I had to, use some kind of alcohol based or whatever to go in there. But because I was not willing to, give up or say no or whatever, I found the technology to allow myself to go do something. And then I became an advanced diver, and I've dove all over the world, like Fiji and Tahiti and San Carlos, Mexico. And I have an advanced diving degree with over 30 dives. I've dove with sharks and, all sorts of stuff. And so I'm just saying, like, never let stuff get in the way of starting. How you deal with it, you could always change course when you're doing it, but never give up on starting. So for me with this car, I didn't have the funds to do this car. I mean, it was not even close. There was no way to do this car, but I decided that I was going to do this car. And then I can't lift anything. And at that point, it was pretty bad. So I'm buying an engine. I bought an engine, which was scary, like this, and it's a, steel engine or iron block engine. So it's not light either. Not that aluminum one's that light either, but putting that on the rack and tearing it down and all that stuff, it was a little like, what if something happens? Like, get out of the way, we're gonna get crushed. But and again, those fears are like times 10 when you have this disability where you can't even lift a bottle of water. Like, that's just like a huge thing. So anyways, I started with the engine, and that cost me a lot of money, but I did it over time, and over a year, I put like, I don't know, $9,000 into that engine. So then I started saving and saving for the car. Next thing you know, I buy the car, and I paid for it fully outright. And it only took me it was something small, like a year to come up with $35,000 or whatever I ended up paying. Because, I have so many additions, the fenders and the rear tailpipes and the hardtop and the windows and all that stuff. The extra hood and all that. So it cost a lot of money, but I did it. And then I didn't know how to do body work. I didn't even, know how to weld. I didn't know all these things. It's all new, but I have an engineering degree. I have an engineering mind. And when stuff came in, I just used tools and leverage, if you will, to be able to move stuff around the garage. I had stuff with wheels. I had little dolly carts. I had, I could lift this for 5 seconds, but I can't lift it for 30 seconds and walk across the garage. And so these were things that I did to make my dream come true. So try to use technology or leverage or whatever it is to help you get through whatever you need to do. But again, don't let it not start, because never starting is what will take you out. You need to start and think about it before you start. Like, if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards, but don't let something get in the way, and you could persevere and get through it. So that's my Street Rod Gym IRL moment there of how this came. So, after all this, you would sit there and say, well, how's your body feeling? Did you damage yourself during this process, whatever? Well, yeah, I did have a major relapse when I was working on I'm putting on the lower radiator hose on this car. That's what started the relapse. It was so tight and I couldn't get it on, and I didn't want to ask a neighbor, because I just asked my neighbors for so much help. And I calculated, I'm like, well, I'm going to make the sacrifice to muscle this on, and it might cost me 3 days of pain. And I was wrong. It cost me over 2 years of pain, and still going today. And so, and that's the crazy thing about it, is I already had an estimate of what the sacrifice might have been. But I will say, looking back at it, that relapse brought me to where I am today, to where I found someone that's helping me, and I wasn't able to do that for 20 years. And I'm talking about I've been to the best doctors in the world. So so yeah, do I regret it? I guess not, because it led me to where I am today. So here I am. Maybe building this car helped me heal myself in some way. It's just life is crazy turns, man. Really crazy turns. So in any case, I got these amazing videos coming up. I hope you stick with me. Hopefully I'll be hitting some car shows. Hopefully people will see me in real life, see the car in person, and have a few chats. That would be nice. And hopefully bring you some footage of that stuff too. And then we'll just kind of see where that all goes, because the car show schedule can become pretty, like, every 2 weeks or whatever. And that's a lot of traveling and, hotels or whatever. So I kind of have to figure that all out. I've never done the tour before, so not in this sense. So we're going to figure that all out. And I know this has been a little lengthy, but I'm just trying to get my ideas out as best I can through this process. It's not always easy talking to a lens and trying to make sense of yourself, especially with in-depth topics like this. So I appreciate the patience, and can't wait to show you what I've created. Have a great day.